Talking about the we were talking about the normal, what is DevOps, what is what are the different methodologies we are having. Right? So today we will continue to this, and you have already forked this one. Okay. So now uh, let's just have a look that DevOps part, so that we will be doing these you know these tools one by one. So we will create at the end of this training, we will be able to create a CI/CD pipeline this like this. So,
Okay.
so that is our motive.
Yes.
That is the main purpose, that how we can do a automation by using any tool. We will be using Jenkins CI/CD pipeline tool, but it could be anything. Maybe after this training, when you are comfortable with all these, then we can start the AWS DevOps or Azure DevOps, where you feel
Hmm.
that, okay, I need, because one thing I forget to mention in yesterday's lecture, that there is a very commonly asked question that what happens if we, what happens if I have something which is called Azure DevOps and DevOps, what is the difference? Okay, so that is very commonly asked question. So, so the difference is, whenever you are saying DevOps, okay, when you say DevOps, so DevOps comes with it's a process action. It does not matter. Now tell me one question. Let me ask some questions to you. If someone says Maven is DevOps, what will be your answer?
Maven is a tool. It's a part of the process.
Mhm. So, nee, what is your answer? Means Maven is DevOps? Yes or no?
Yes.
No. Answer is no. So Maven is a tool. You said earlier correctly that it's a tool, right? Which is doing the build automation. Means it creates the jar file, war files, right? So Maven is a tool, and Maven. So it doesn't mean that whenever I'm using DevOps process, I need to use Maven. No. Consider you have created your own tool, something like Maven. So you are using that tool. Like for example, for Node.js, you are using NPM.
Hmm.
So Maven will be replaced with NPM. So Maven is a tool, and it helps us to do the SDLC automation. So Maven is a tool. Maven is not DevOps. DevOps is a process. Okay. So for example, it is something like that. I'll say, okay, you do one thing. There is a concrete from one depot. You need to send it to my home. So you are saying, okay, I will be using a Ashok, a Leland truck, or I will use, some other Mahindra truck. So it does not matter to me. My main motive is that concrete from depot to my home. Whether now you need to decide whether Mahindra truck is good for that, or it is Swaraj, Mazda, whatever, right? So those trucks are good for that. So that you need to decide. Now, same way in the DevOps process, you are saying that I need to convert my source code into executable. Now, whether it is Maven is good, whether it is NPM, whether it is PyBuilder. So it depends upon what kind of concrete or what kind of goods you are taking from the depot and sending it to my home. So whatever the transport you are using, so that is your decision.
Okay.
Same way, whenever we are creating this CI/CD pipeline, what tools are required? Some people are using Ansible, some people are using Terraform, some people are using Puppet, Chef, SaltStack, right? Cloud formation. So they are using their own tools, right? Depends upon what is the what is required. All right. So DevOps is a process, okay, and it's a automation process for CI/CD, right? CI/CD process or CI/CD pipeline for SDLC. Mainly, it is for SDLC, but you can put anything. If you say end to end, I'm having everything automated. So you can say it's a DevOps. So no
Can we
manual
say
intervention.
so
Yeah.
can we say it's a also automation process for STLC, software testing lifecycle, because we are also testing here, like in Jenkins also rewrite the test cases and doing the automation.
So that comes under the SDLC. It's a sub part of SDLC. Okay. Testing and everything comes under the SDLC only. As I mentioned, SDLC is not a small thing. It's not only developers thing. It's a end to end. When your project is in the development stage and when it goes into the production. So whatever the processes in between comes, all part of SDLC. Whether it is networking, whether it is you know implementation, whether it is testing, whatsoever comes in between.
Got it, sir.
I always say that when you are in IT company, whether you are technical or non-technical, you are part of SDLC. For example, you are HR, right? And you are saying, I'm not SDLC. I'm not working on some project, but you are hiring some resources, right? Those who will work on that particular project. So I would say if HR rejects that resource, then this project is to be done by some resources, some manpower, right? And that manpower is coming from the HR selections. So, but not explicitly, I will say that they are part of, we'll say, so SDLC is basically starts from the software development. So if software development developer is not selected, so how our project will be created, right? I can say product owner is also part of SDLC because he is giving the requirement, right? Then developers start. Now, even though we are having a lot of AI tools like Replit, we are having GitHub Copilot, we are having so many tools with the help of that we can generate the code. But still, when we talk about the uh, process, this DevOps process it starts from the development only. Because developer has to write the logic. You cannot say everything to AI, right? So even though Elon Musk is saying that I don't know whether he said or not, but I have read somewhere that within 1 year, uh, there is no need of developers. Right? But it is not true. I don't think so. See, we as a developer, we need to upgrade ourselves. We need to uh, upgrade ourselves with respect to the latest technology. For example, I'm a Python developer. And I know if I ask Chat GPT or any AI tool that can you create a project which connects to a database, it will write a complete code. But now, and I will copy paste that code. Okay, so you can say, okay, I have 10 developers. Let's stick to 1 or 2 developers because we just need to ask AI to generate. Even though AI is creating very mature, uh, which we don't think even, right? So that kind of, but if you are a developer, right, and you aligned yourself for for cloud-based system, DevOps process. You align yourself with the AI, DevOps. These are the latest things. Data science and data engineering is also there, but if you are a Python developer, then you need to upgrade yourself that how to use this AI tool along with knowledge of development. So I
Yeah.
still, if I see the industry, if you see Naukri.com or other, you still see that there are a lot of requirement for Java developer, Python developer, .NET developers. Why, if AI is there, then why those developers are required? Because when they write the prompt, they write a very mature prompt. right? For example, you are a Python developer, and if you need that, I want to connect with the database, and can you? So you can write something like this. You'll say, okay, can you create a object-oriented program with the exception handling, right? Which connects to my database, and connection string is in some configuration file. Pick up from there and um, generate an object, right, for that class. So you will not blindly write that, okay, I want to connect with the database. So to use the AI is also matters what kind of prompt you are doing. So
Hmm.
if you, so means we should not think that developer life will go away after this AI. So it's not like that. But yes, we need to upgrade ourselves, right? So DevOps. So you means if you are a developer, you should have a knowledge of DevOps. You should have a knowledge of cloud computing. Without that, it is very difficult to, survive for a long time. Because until like you are already working with AWS, right? You are in a, for example, if someone is a data engineer, okay, data engineer. Now he says, why should I learn DevOps? Why should I learn uh, AWS or Azure? See, whenever you are developing any solution, you need to deploy it somewhere. Means someone has to deploy it somewhere. And if you don't have that knowledge, right, it will be a minus point. It's not a plus point. If you are having a knowledge, for example, you know that Azure Data Factory, how to use that. Azure means if you want to know what is how Azure Data Factory is to be used, it means you need to know the Azure basics first. How to create users, how to group them, what is service principal, what is managed identity, etc. So you cannot escape yourself of the knowledge of cloud computing and uh, and this DevOps especially, right? So if you say, no, I will write a code in Python or Java, that's it. That time is gone. That time is gone. When I started at that time, it was like that. So when I was working on a some application, so my those business people or my lead, he was basically giving me the requirement. Raman, you have to develop this code. I have developed that code, created the executable, and give it to the operation team or testing team. But now life is not that much simple.
Yes.
You need to know that how I can create a Docker file. Because even though creation of Docker file is the job of DevOps engineer, but you need to guide him. For example, I'll give you one example, very uh, uh, realistic example. I was creating one Docker file for Java project, and then I have taken Maven as a Docker image. Then we have created a Docker image. When this Docker image is created, its size was almost 600 MB. This container was running with this 600 MB. And they want to run 10 instances of that container. So it means 6,000 MB means
6,000.
almost 60. So which was a very, which was a concern. So I have created as a DevOps engineer, and they are saying we need to run. So even though you are having a very good system, but one application container means lightweight.
Right.
So now they are
Yes.
saying 10 GB. So this is not good. So then I talked to the development team. I knew the solution, but I talked to the development team. I went to the Java developers, those who developed this. I said, hey, that Maven image I'm using, can we reduce this size? Now here developer input is required. If developer
Mhm.
does not know what is Docker file, what is Docker image, then how he can suggest? He may suggest that in broken ways, but not precisely. So I
Correct.
need a solution that this is to be reduced. So Means we have what he has done. He mentioned that okay, Maven project they are using. So I said, okay, what we can do. So they are saying Maven is basically creating a jar file. And now at the end, we need to execute the jar file. So what I have done in the Docker file, I have created multi-stage, stage one, stage two. In stage one, so I basically, that we will discuss when we will discuss about the Docker.
Okay.
So that size is reduced to 1 GB for 10 instances. So it means I alone cannot do that as a DevOps engineer. I need help from the development team. Okay. So you as a coordinator, you are mostly working as a coordinator plus technical. If you are a DevOps engineer, you are writing the scripts, you are coordinating, or you can say the collaboration with all the teams which comes in that end-to-end automation. So DevOps engineer, that's why demand of DevOps engineer is high as compared to.
In the JD of Scrum Master or Agile Lead, CI/CD DevOps, it's now mandatory.
Oh,
Like in January, I cracked 3 interviews: Accenture, EY, and Synchrony Bank, which I'm currently working with that. So in EY, they asked me only on DevOps only. What cloud? They asked me the same question which you have explained. Like suppose we have a edge location about that. Suppose we have a content in the US location and Virginia, and we want to use that content in India region. So how are we going to fetch it, because it's a latency rate for that. So I have to explain some scenarios like Route 53 and edge location about that. So they were very impressed during that time. So yes, this is now mandatory to distinguish between a Scrum Master right now also.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right. Nikhil, one thing, if you unshare your video, because actually the videos, that file recording file size becomes very big because
Okay, so
of
fine,
this,
fine,
and because
fine.
it. So yesterday's recording was, even though I have raised a ticket in the Microsoft, but they were saying something went wrong. So looks like because of this video sharing, the
Okay,
size of the file becomes very big.
fine, sir,
Please
no
don't
worries.
mind.
No, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. All right. So now, all right. So now, now the next thing is that if I may, what is the difference between DevOps and someone says AWS DevOps? Someone says Azure DevOps or GCP DevOps. What is the difference? See, in this DevOps generic part, what we are doing, the DevOps, uh, the DevOps which we are using, we are considering everything is on-premises environment. Means you have your own data center, you are having your own, servers, networking, everything. So in this learning, what you are basically doing, so we are learning, we are creating our own servers, we are creating our own networking, everything is we are managing. So these tools we are learning in this training, considering the infra is within our own campus. Whereas if you say AWS DevOps, it means you are creating the EC2 instances. For example, if I say I want to create a Kubernetes cluster, if I'm using the way which I have here, right? So what will happen that I need to create my master server, I need to create my worker nodes, right? But if you use EKS, which is the Elastic Kubernetes Service, so in that case, the in that case, AWS will create the master node. AWS EC2 instances will be created as a worker node. So it means DevOps with AWS means we will be using the services of AWS like ECS, CloudWatch, AWS config, etc., etc. There is a separate certification for the AWS DevOps, right? Same way, if you are using Azure as your infrastructure, you want to use only Azure in your services, then you can go with the Azure DevOps. For example, your database is in Azure. Your other, apps are running on Azure, which you want to connect with your CI/CD pipeline. Then best solution is that create Azure DevOps CI/CD pipeline instead of the one which we are using. Even though we can integrate our CI/CD pipeline using Jenkins, consider it is on your on-premises environment, and you want to invoke it on the AWS or Azure, that also we can do it. But if you want to use AWS DevOps, your intention is that we need to use the AWS services, Azure, Azure services. Got it? And Google services. Right. So now what we will do, we will start from the Git. I know Git is very easy for you. And so we will start from very beginning, as I mentioned. So whatever you know, we will, do you have Visual Studio Code installed on your system?
Yes, sir. I have.
Good. That's good. So now here in the CI/CD pipeline, developer is pushing the code into some GitHub repository. So triggering point is this development, right? And it ends at operations, so DevOps, right? So first we will learn this Git and GitHub. So let me go back here. So very easy. I will go very quickly over here. So what is version control system? Consider you are a developer and you have some code which you have developed, right? So you have some code and that code you have developed and that code you have presented to your client. And client is saying, no, I need some changes. You made the changes. You again present it to a client. Client says, I need some more changes. You present it and so on. At the end, you will have the final code. But whatever the changes you have done, that if you are not using any version control system, you cannot track those changes. So that is the purpose of the version control system. There are different types of version control system: local, centralized, and distributed. So let us understand what is local version control system. See, whenever we are talking about the local version control system, here we are having a local system. This is your system. And consider you are having a file and you want to put that file into your local system and you want to track the history. So everything is on local system. It is not outside your local system. Okay, so you are doing everything on version controlling on your laptop only. So version 1, 2, 3 you have created, you tracked it. This is good because everything is on your local system, commit, retrieval, storing into the repository. It is something which is very means whatever you have stored. So it is on your local system. So it is very fast. But the problem is it is only on the local system. If something goes wrong on your local system, this repository will go away. If someone else, new developer comes and he says, can you give me the code? You can give it from your local system, but how to do the integration means he make further changes and you want to integrate into your project. So that is difficult. So that is why there is a local version control system, RCS was used earlier, but it is, for single project, you are the only one who is maintaining this, then it is okay. But for integration point of view, it is not. Now, second is a centralized version control system. In centralized version control system, what happens? You are having one centralized system. So this is your repository, which is on a central server. Maybe it is on your premises. So you have taken one server and these are the developers. Working copy means on which they are working on. This is developer 1, developer 2, developer 3. So what all they are doing? They are pushing the code, or we say commit the code to the repository. And whenever there is any update happens, for example, developer 1 has updated the repository. So developer 3 wants, so it will take the update from the centralized repository. This was very good. And subversion control system was one which is widely used for this purpose. So this is uh, basically the centralized version control system. So there are advantages are good because now developers, they need not to maintain the repository on their local system. But there are some disadvantages. Advantages are number one, because it is on the remote machine. So whenever you are doing a pull or push operation, so it takes time. Right? So that is one problem. Second problem was that if this server is go away, mostly it is single server. You can create the failover server, but mostly it is single server. You can create the users, you can create the groups. There are so many functionalities over there, right? But if this server is not available because of any reason, so you will lose your repository. Because nothing is on the developer machine. Everything is on this centralized repository. So that was the one problem. Okay. And third thing is that, for example, there is a developer one, and he wants to do 1, 2, 3, 4 commits. If each commit he wants to push to the repository, so there is a delay, right? And whenever there is a delay, then what will happen? Whenever there is a delay, so what he thinks, okay, instead of putting all this commit, he merged that all commits into one commit and then push. So which is not good. So ideally, he wants to have 4 commits, but because every time when he does a commit, he push, so it takes maybe 1 minute. So he thinks, right, it is a wastage of time. I will push all the commits together in as a one commit, and I will push it to the remote repository. Benefit is that another benefit, one developer comes and he wants the latest code. He can download it from the repository. He need not to ask to the any developer.
Correct.
Okay, so this was good. This was good, and it was there for a long time, almost 15 to 20 years. It was in the market.
So
But
I have
now,
one question here.
yeah.
So suppose workstation PC1 and workstation PC2 are working simultaneously, and they want to try to commit the same time with the same changes. So the
That was
report.
also one of the problems. So there was a you cannot do means at the same time you cannot do commits. So it will be one by one. It's not together. So because it will go into the deadlock situation, and none of commits will be into the repository.
Yeah.
So which version control you are using now in your company?
So we were using the Git bash.
Git and Git bash, yeah. And a remote GitHub or GitLab?
GitHub only.
So yeah, because of all these drawbacks, the distributed version control system came into the picture. So what is distributed version control system? Let me see if I can. So here, basically what happens? There are 2 types of repository. So Git is basically, we know who has created Git?
No, sir.
Who has created Linux?
No idea.
Linus Torvald, right? He was a Finland student, and um, he's only, I think, 55, 56 years old only. You see, almost 80% of the world is running on his idea. So how proud he would be feeling, right? So Linus Torvald, who
I have seen his post also. Like he's also still doing the development, practicing development in the
yes,
like
yes,
repositories.
kernel is still maintained by him or his team.
Mm.
So He's one of the genius, I would say. Okay, so now Linus Torvald was using some uh, version control system, but he was not happy with that. That's why in C language he has created Git. So Linus Torvald has created Git.
Okay.
So now what we are having, we are doing. So this is PC1. So we are having a local repository. All these developers are having a local repository. And local repository is created by Git. So Git bash is that interface and Git is the tool. Now we are having, so now that situation where a developer wants to do 4 commits. Now he will do these commits on the local system only. Okay. So now local system is fast because it's on the same hard disk. So he can do it immediately. And there is a centralized repository, like you are using GitHub. Maybe I'm using GitLab. Maybe you are using Azure repos. I'm using code commit from AWS. So it can be anything. Mostly this is cloud-based. Okay. But it can be your centralized server, but mostly it is cloud-based. So now what you are doing, you have done 4 commits. After 4 commits, you push. So this repository is your local repository. Then you push to the centralized repository. So you are pushing to your GitHub repository. Okay. And now this repository is commonly shared with everyone. So this developer 2 is also pushing the code into local repository, and he is also pushing to the remote repository. Now, in this case, what is the benefit? So first benefit is that developers are maintaining the local repository. Number 2, there is a remote repository. So the delay which we were talking about. Right? So delay was how it was, because every commit developer wants to push to the remote repository, but now it is not required. So now the developer can push the commits to the local repository, and once end of the day, maybe after whatever schedule, right? So he will push the further into the remote repository. So this is the latest one. So there are many, as I mentioned, Git and GitHub. Very commonly asked question. What is the difference between Git and GitHub? So Git is your local repository and GitHub is your remote repository, which is expecting a Git repository from your local repository.
Okay.
Same with GitLab. Now another question asked, my student asked, what is the difference between Git and GitLab then? So GitHub and GitLab. So GitHub and GitLab, these are 2 separate companies. Okay. Both are providing the similar kind of work. And so if your project is in Git and GitHub, so you are using Git and GitHub as your remote repository. But your company says, no, we will have a CI/CD pipeline and our repository on GitLab. So then you can use the GitLab also. Okay. Now this remote repository, there are many types are there, like Azure repos, AWS code commit, Bitbucket, right? So it totally depends. Functionality wise, if you learn one thing, like if you learn GitHub, you can work on the other very easily. Maybe little bit things you need to adjust, but functionality, pushing the code, pulling the code, it's almost same. So this is called distributed version control system. So this concept is called where you are having local version control system and the remote repository. So that is basically if you are maintaining something like this is called the distributed version control system. So three file system, version control system we have discussed. One is local, second is central, and third is distributed. And latest is distributed.
Clear.
Now what we will do, we will download Git on our local system. You already have. Just wanted to show you that how you can download. You can just go to Git SCM. It's software code management. So you can go over here. This is the latest version, right? If I say CMD and I want to see which version of Git I have installed, so I'll say Git ---- version. So Git, you can install it on your Windows, Linux, Mac, any operating system, right? But I will be using in on Windows. Commands will be exactly same. Only the difference is that few things like editor, if text editor I'm using in Windows different, and Linux may be different, like you are using VI editor. Okay,
So sir, I'm having the Git version 2.44. So that will be okay.
That is also fine. That is also fine. Even though if I say 52, actually last week I have just taken this. So
Okay.
2 point something is fine. But when it becomes 3, then we need to think that, okay, we need to uninstall the latest one and the one which is on our system. And
Is there
install
any
the
process can be upgraded our like Git version directly with
Yes,
commands?
yes. Not with the command. So you need to click on this install for Windows, right?
Okay.
So you need to come over here, Windows, and you need to download this Windows setup. For example, if I download this, so it will download the MSI package. And then we need to upgrade.
Okay, fine. Fine, sir.
I'm not doing that. It's not required.
Yeah.
For you also, it is not.
Sure.
And you need to have a GitHub account. You already have, but that may be your
Yes.
company's account, right?
No. I have a personal account also.
Personal account.
Yes.
So then it is good. So we need to have a personal account also. Now, so here I have mentioned all the steps how you can install on different, like you want to install on Windows, on Linux. So if, for example, you want to install on Ubuntu system, apt install Git on Fedora, Red Hat, all steps. And this is for the Mac operating system. Now let us talk about Git config. So when you install Git, Git bash is also get installed, right? So let me just go over here. What we will do, we'll create one folder. So I will open PowerShell. So I will go to some directory cd / and cd. I'll create a directory mkdir and I already have cd training. I will call it MasteringDevops. I'll create cd training. I don't have mkdir training. Okay, cd training. Right? And I will create it here mkdir mastering DevOps. So I will go into this directory, mastering. And if you're using Git bash, so what is the purpose of Git bash?
It's a like infra.
No. So Git bash is basically a tool. For example, I'm using Windows. In Windows, earlier we were only able to run the Windows command, right?
Okay.
So I cannot run the like touch command to create a blank file or to touch the file, right? So those things I cannot do it by using Windows. So that is why, because Linux Torvald has created in the Linux environment. So in Windows, because we were not able to use those Windows commands. So that is why uh, he has given Windows with Git bash. So Git bash is the SSH client. So you can run your Linux command on that terminal. So Git bash, if someone asks, so it's a terminal where we can run the Linux command inside Windows. Let me show you. So if I go to this directory, which is I have created C and training. And MasteringDevops. If I go here, okay. And now if I right click over here, show more options, Git bash. Okay, Git GUI also get installed. So with the GUI also we can see. Now I'm here. So now here see ls command I am able to run. Right. So you can run any, for example, if I say touch abc.txt file. Okay. So in Windows, I am able to create this abc.txt file. Right. If I say echo and this is my first file, and I want to store it into abc. So these are the Linux command, but I'm running it in the Windows. So if I open this, so you can see whatever I have written, it is written here. Right. Now if I delete, oh, means let me bring it back. So if I say rm abc.txt, it will be deleted. Right. So if you want to see the Linux flavor in the Windows, and this is how this comes with the SSH client also. So SSH client means if you want to connect to the Linux system, any Linux system, for example, you are having AWS EC2 machine and you want to connect. So you can use this bash terminal. So it's a Linux terminal, like, bash, right? In the Linux, we are having a bash. So this is Git bash, Git with bash. Okay. So bash terminal with Git already there. Okay. But mostly I will use you can use that one, but I will use this this PowerShell. So now means you want to use that Git bash, you can use that one.
Yeah, I'm using the Git bash right now. Just open that.
Yeah, yeah. So you need not to run the commands along with me. That is not required. So what I will do, once I finish those things, for example, one topic is finished, then you can, means I will share all the commands with you. And then what you can do, whenever you get the time, so you pay attention here what I am teaching, right? So it will be, you just have one notebook and pen, and you just note down whatever you think that it is important to note down. So you can just note down. Otherwise, my GitHub repository is also there. All right. So now let me explain you one thing. So here, what we are going to do, we will create a Git repository, right? So we'll create a Git repository. Now, whenever you are creating a local repository, whenever you are having a local repository, for commit, you need at least two things. One is author name, and second is the email address of the author. So these two things we need. If we don't have these things, we cannot commit our code into the local repository. Now, where we can store these files, these information. So it will be stored into a Git configuration file. Now, what is Git configuration file? If you are having some properties which is related to your Git, then it is Git config file. Now, Git config file is of three types. One is system level. Second is global level. And third is local level. So there are three types of configuration file. We have installed Git. Okay, so when you install the Git, so now on a system, any operating system like Linux or Windows, there is a folder which is called users folder. Like for example, you want to connect to the Linux system, you need to connect with your user account. When you connect to your user account, there is a home directory of the user. Okay, there is a home directory. Home directory means under in the Linux there is root under home. For example, there is a Raman user, so it will be something like this. In Windows, the home directory is C users. Consider my username is Raman, so it will be Raman. And Linux also it is Mac also it is. Okay. So global is, for example, I'm working on my account. When I log into my Linux development box, so I log in with my account. So my home directory is something like this. Here it will create .git config file if you create a configuration file on the global level. Global means user level. Consider you and me both are having the account on a same Linux system, but you want that when you log in, so author name will be stored as a Mikhail. But when I log into that system, the author name is to be stored or is to be used as Raman. So then those settings will be on the user specific, that is called global.
Okay.
Then local. Local means, for example, you are working on a project. So there is a project. And when you create a project, there is a directory get created if you are initializing the git directory. Under that, there is a config file. And that config file is your local configuration file. So you can also define the author name and email in this configuration file. Now, if the author name is defined in global as well as in the local, then local has more priority. So it is the author name which is mentioned in the local configuration file that will be taken. And system is for all the users. Okay, for all the users. I'm talking about author and email, but there are so many other settings like you want to set the color. You want to set the editor, VI editor, you want to set for all kind of activity which we are doing in the Git. So I want to set some editor. So in that case, you can use global configuration, local configuration file accordingly. Let me show you that one. So what I'll do here, I will create a project. I will say mkdir. I will create a banking project. I will go to this banking project. Now what I need to do, first I need to run the git init command. So when you run the git init command, so what it will do, it will create a .git directory. So under banking, there is .git directory get created. Now this is the directory which is very, very important for local repository. If someone deletes this directory, then your local repository is gone. Okay, so we need to preserve this. And to preserve this, that's why dot in Linux, if something is started with dot, it is hidden. And this is hidden also in Windows. See what I have done. I have, if I go to view and if I say show, because I have mentioned hidden items to be shown, that's why it is showing. If I remove this, then it is gone because it is hidden and it is supposed to be hidden. And we are not supposed to touch this file. Because if you touch this .git directory, then you are tampering with the internal operations of the Git, which is not recommended. Okay. So we are having certain commands. With the help of those commands, whatever is in the .git directory, so that will be automatically get updated. Now here in .git directory, there are many files and folders. We will discuss some of them. So if you see, there is a config file. So this is the configuration file which I'm talking about. Let us do one thing. We will talk about these stage and other environment. Let me do one thing. Let me create a new item. I will create a file called index.html. This is PowerShell command. You can use touch in the Linux. So index.html file is created under banking directory, right? Now, if I say git status, so we'll discuss about all this. So there is a file git. Let me do one more thing. My global configuration file, C users, Raman, and there is a .git config file. I'm removing this one. Okay.
Okay.
Now, if I say git add dot git and commit -m, I'll say index.html file is getting added. Okay, so I'm running this. So it is saying, hey, what are you doing? You don't have the author name and the email. So without author name and email, I cannot do that. In companies, your laptop is given by your company. So they have already configured your home directory, right? And you are having the email. So it will not be validated, your email and your username, but it is a good practice that you use the same email as your company email, and author name is your NTID, is whatever the like here it is Raman in my case. So in your case, it is Mikhail ABC. So you need to use that one. That is a best practice. So what I'll do, so it is giving me a command. You need to run this command. So we will run this. So I'll say git config and -- global. If you don't mention global, it will create the local.
Okay.
So I'll say global and uh, user dot name. I'll say Raman global. Means I'm just giving any name.
Okay, random name.
It will not be verified. Now, what it will do under this Raman's directory, it will create one .git config file. Okay, if I open this, so you can see what command I had given. I had given the command user is a section, name is a property, value is Raman global. Same way, I want to give the author name. So I will say git config and -- global user dot email. So I'm just giving some email address. Okay.
Okay.
Or I'll say instead of Raman global, I will say check at. So I'm giving this. Now here you can see that there is one more property is added. Same way, I'm giving you the example of user. Maybe you want to do something else. It will say for all my text editor. So global and core dot editor, for example, VM. What is that? VIM. Right? Vim. Now you can see there is a editor which is Vim. Okay. Now if I try to commit my code, if I run that command again.
What is the purpose of last command? That is a config
Code
editor.
For example, some point of time you need an editor. You want to open your, for example, we will see that in more practical, but it will be opening an editor, text editor. So I'm saying use Vim. If you say Nano, it will open in Nano. So now this is done. So now how do you know that which user? If I said git log, so you can see there is a author Raman Global. This is the email address. The file get created at this time, and this is my message. Now let us do one thing. Let us open our .git config file. We are not supposed to do that, but let us see. So here I will say, okay. Now here we are having 4 section, but we don't have user. So what I will do here, I will say, I will create one more file, new item. So I will call it as um, local html.html. So if I say git status, so local. Now if I commit this, right, if I say git add dot, we will discuss all these commands. If I say git commit -m, then what it will do, it will take the username from the global because local it is not defined. So what I will do, I will define the configuration. I will say git config and hyphen local, or if you don't mention, it will be local. Now I will say that user dot name is raman-global. Now if I say git commit -m, then it will check what is the local username. So I will say that local settings, something I'm giving message. Now if I say git log, so you can see there are topmost commit is the recent one. Here see local settings. Now who is the author? Raman. Now because I have not defined the email address on the local configuration file, that's why it has taken it from the global configuration.
Okay.
Is this point clear?
Yes, sir.
There is one more, which is C program files, C etc. 1 second, I'll just check the path. There is one thing called system configuration file. Now, if you want to see all the properties, git config, and if you say list, it will show all the configuration file lists, your global, local, and system. But if you want to see git config and hyphen global,
It will show in the global one.
yes. So it will show the global. See this we have defined. And same way, if you want to see for the local only, it will show the local. Now that system configuration file, I just need to see the path. So everything is here. Is you need not to worry. I will share these commands which I am writing also. Global and local, right? System level configuration file. So system is having lowest priority. If something is defined in global and system, so global will be taken if it is common. So under Linux system, it is under etc git config, but in the Windows C program files git. So we'll use this file, C program files, and git, and here
etc.
etc, and then git config. We are not supposed to, we don't use mostly, and we are not supposed to see this. So this is my, so here, for example, it is written default branch master. So if you want that your default branch should be main, so you need to make a change here.
Okay. Git branch with command.
Now, do you think what will be the command for this?
For changing the branch.
Yeah, because we are not supposed to remove directly from it. Init is the section, default branch is the property, and master is the value. So git config hyphen system init dot default branch equals to master main of master, right? Like here we have executed the command. How we have executed local instead of local, what it will come? System.
System.
User is the section. Here section name is init dot default branch equals to whatever you want to be.
Oh.
Is it clear? Config file concept is clear to you?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
So what we'll do, I will run the history command. And these commands which I have executed, let me share it with you. I will put it on the chat. I will put it into a notepad plus in the chat. All right. Now, clear history, clear the history. Now, next thing is Git is having, when we are working on a local repository. So Git um, is having three stages or three areas. First one is called untracked. Let me do one thing. Let me delete this, whatever am having in this directory.
Mhm.
Let me delete everything. I will start from the beginning. So let us understand there are three types of areas. First one is called untracked. Untracked is your, or we call it working copy. So
Okay.
what is working copy means? Currently you're working on it and you have not decided that it will go into my repository or not. But
Mm.
before that, you need to initialize your repository. If I say here, git status, for example, if I say, I don't know because you have not initialized. So if I say
Mm.
git init, it initializes the current directory. Now, if I say git status, nothing to comment. Now that error is gone. That .git directory, if I delete this git directory, then my local repository snapshots, everything is gone. So if I say git status, again, it says that I don't know what are you talking about, right? Because it's not a local repository. Now, if I say git init say test, so what it will do, it will create a directory called test inside my current directory. And inside that, the it is updated, means git is initialized. So if I say ls, test directory is created. If I say git status here, it says I don't know. But if I go to cd test and say git status, so this is, so it is in my child directory now. Okay. So you may see in it with some directory name also.
So
So
can you explain that last command again? Git init with test. What
yeah.
is that?
So when I run this command, so what it will do, in your current directory, it will create one directory called test
Okay.
and initialize the git inside test directory.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Got it.
So now what I will do, again, I will say cd dot dot, and I will remove this directory, which is test directory. You can run the PowerShell command also. Now, if I say git init, so I'm initializing my banking directory. Now, consider I have a file, say, if I say new item, and I will create a file called business access layer dot HTML file. I will create another item, say presentation layer dot HTML file, and I will create third one, data access object dot HTML. So three files I have created. Now, if I say git status, because I have not, I'm still working on it. So these are called the untracked area or untracked files. Okay. Now,
Okay.
untracked means which is modified or which are newly added. Okay.
Mm.
Now, so this is untracked. Second is the stage area. Stage, or we call it index area. So this is the area where the files are ready to commit. Means, okay, you are saying, okay, now I am ready to commit this file. I have done the work on this. Let me commit it. So then it will be the stage area. So let us see how we
Mm.
can do that. So I will say here, git add, say, business access layer dot HTML file. So now this file is in the stage area. If I say git status, so you can see that business access layer dot HTML file is in the stage area. And data access object and presentation layer, these are still untracked area. If you want to bring back this file to your Means by mistake you have put it into the stage area and you want to bring it back, then you need to use this command, git rm hyphen cached and your file name, which is business_access_layer.html. Now,
Okay.
if I say git status, so you will see all the files are in the interactive.
Mhm.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So one second. Okay. Now, next is that let me push all the files. So what I'm doing, push all the files from untracked to stage area. So I'll say git add. If you want to put only one file, then that file name. If you want to
Mm.
put everything, then -a.
Nice.
See, if you want to see the help, you can say git help. Right? So you can see the help, what are the commands which are available. So it will open this page, and here you
Okay.
can see we can have a lot of add file name commit, right? And add dry run. Don't actually add the files, just now to show if exist will be ignored. So for example, if I say git add dot and hyphen dry run, dry hyphen run, right? So it is saying
Mm.
I will add these files. So before you want to do anything, for example, if I say I want to add uh, that business access layer dot html, so it is saying I will be executing this command. Okay. So
Okay.
here help will be very it is very meaningful whenever
Mhm.
you are learning. So not all the options, but sometimes whenever you are doing some activity, you want to know that how it works. So now, uh, so here you can see -a also. Uh, -a for all. So update the index, not only where the working tree has the file matching path specification, but also where the index already has the entry. Now this is for this. Okay. So if no path spec means if we don't mention the path, like earlier I had given this, right? Path.
Mm.
So if we don't mention, then it will take the everything. So if I say git add dot or -a, either of that you can use. Now, if I say git status, so you can see all the files are in the stage area. Now, third area is called the commit area. So now, when you want to do a commit means it will create a snapshot of your uh, changes which you want to track. For example, these three files you want to push it uh, into your repository. Then
Mm.
what you will do, you will commit it and it will be stored into your local repository. Until this, these are not in the repository. So now whenever you are doing a unique commit ID will be created. But that is not meaningful. If you
Okay.
want to know what I have done in that commit, you need to give the message -n. Without
Mm.
message, if you are giving, first of all, it will not accept. And this is a required parameter or required option. Definitely you need to give that. Okay. So in that case, what we will do, we'll see here. If I say git commit -n, and I want to have the business access layer.java file only. So it's a business access law.html file is added. This message should be very meaningful because if you are using something else, right? So it will unnecessarily gives you the different impression that you have done this. So in companies, basically what happens whenever there is a change happens, there is a change request. So you mentioned the change request into this. You mentioned that what you are trying to do in this particular commit. Now I want to use the business success layer.html. So I'll say enter. Now, if I say git status, so you can see that there are two files which are in the stage area. Third file is already committed. How do you know it is committed? You can run the git log command. So you can see this is committed. And right, this is the commit ID. Because our default branch is master, head is basically, it is pointing where currently you are in. So I'm in a master branch. Branch we will discuss, but it is in the master branch. Author is this person. This is the email address. This is the date. And this is the message which we had given. Now, if you want to push everything from your, okay, so if you want to push every, all the files from stage to local repository, then git commit minus m, and I will say presentation layer dot html and data access object dot html file. And here you need not to mention the file name. So if you mention the file name, only those files will be committed. But if you don't mention anything, then everything from the stage area is committed into your this commit. Okay. So if I say git and log, so you can see there are two commits. My last commit is on the top, right? And this is the commit. So internally, what it is doing, it is creating a snapshot. Snapshot is basically a, you can say, uh, image capture what changes we have done. Next is what I want to do. I want to, if I say git log one line, so this command is basically shows in a short format, or we call it pretty format. So this pretty format is nothing, short form of your commit ID, where head position is pointing to. What is your last commit? It is not showing other details because we don't need most of the time. So we see our log files in this way.
Okay, got it. So in short, it's like a person who is developer who is working on the like working environment. Then he add the command, give git add and push all the things to the staging environment. From there, he will do the git commit command to move to a local repository, and from there he will push git push command to the remote repository like this way, right?
Yes, yes. So this is a single person who is doing all these activities, not someone is sending. So because .git directory is created on your local system. So everything you are doing, for example, you are working on a project. So you are running the git init command, you are running add command, you are running the commit command, not anyone else. Okay. So if there are developer two, so developer two will do it on, because we are dealing with the local repository at this moment. Remote part also we will discuss. Okay.
Sure.
So let me do one thing. Let me share these commands with you. Put it into a notepad. So we will be doing this, right? So let me share these commands with you. You received the earlier commands?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So yeah, I have shared the other set of commands. Will you get it?
Yes, sir. Got it.
So, so I think that's it for today, right? So there are
Yes,
so
yes.
many commands. So you need to practice this. Well,
Sure.
I will
Thank you.
share this recording also, maybe in another uh, 1 hour.
Fine. So, sir, you are creating a one like YouTube channel for us only, na?
Yes,
That is
yes, yes,
accessible to me.
yes, yes.
Okay, okay, fine.
All right. So
Thank
we'll
you,
meet
sir.
tomorrow.
Sure, sir. Thank you. Thank you so
We'll
much.
continue this discussion only.
Sure, sir. Bye.